I'm Kitty, and this podcast is mine, Missing, Murdered, Unidentified in New England. I cover cases from the New England states of Connecticut, Maine, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Rhode Island, and Vermont. Each episode takes place over the month of each year between January 1st, 2010 and December 31st, 2020. And based on sources, some episodes will be long and others will be short, as these cases don't generally have much information available. All of the research, scripting, opinions, and mistakes herein are my own, and I will offer updates and corrections when possible. I do not offer trigger warnings for wounds, as they are a necessary part of the narrative. I will trigger warn for such topics as suicide, animal death, domestic violence, etc. as needed. Now with that, please listen in as I tell you about January 2014. January 14th, 2014. Ricky McKinney was 34 when someone murdered him on January 14th, 2014 at 996 Tremont Street in the South End of Boston, Mass. There is no other information available. Please call 1-617-343-5688 with any information. January 16th, 2014. He was a good kid that made poor decisions. Patrick Alves was the son of Angela Correa and Jose Samido, and had two brothers and a sister. Patrick was known to police as he had been arrested in 2008 and charged with intent to murder after a drive-by shooting occurred. Those charges were later dropped, and Patrick was released. Since 2009 to the time of his murder, on January 16, 2014, Patrick had several run-ins with law enforcement, including resisting arrest, carrying a dangerous weapon, carrying a firearm without license, and vandalism of his jail cell. Patrick was discovered at 153 Myrtle St, New Bedford, Mass., laying on the ground, suffering from multiple gunshot wounds at 1:14 a.m. There were two people, Nicholas Gonzalez and Gerron Harper, arrested in connection with the murder. Gerron allegedly disposed of the burner cell phone used to set up Patrick and was arrested for accessory to murder after the fact. $25,000 bail was set. However, the pair were eventually let go after the arrest. Gerron Harper has continued a life of crime, being arrested for driving around a child who was carrying a firearm, possession and intent to distribute cocaine, and a drug violation near a school and park zone, reckless operation of a vehicle in 2015. Nicholas was from Fairhaven, was 27, with a $50,000 bail set for accessory after the fact for destroying Patrick's phone, lying about it, and then the phone was discovered in his toilet. However, unfortunately, nobody has been charged with pulling the trigger that killed Patrick. Nicholas was also charged with witness intimidation. And Patrick? Patrick is buried in a rural cemetery. Please call 1-617-343-5688 with any information. January 9th, 2014. What a sweet and respectful young man. Very warm and loving, said one person of Brandon Anthony John. The memorial where that kid got shot in early January is still here. Can that be removed? My family doesn't like the constant reminder that a kid got murdered on our block, said a neighbor to the months-long memorial for slain 18-year-old Brandon, who was shot to death on January 9th, 2014 at 136 Rose Street, Roslindale, Mass. He was a loving son, good brother, committed friend, and dedicated student. Brandon was never in trouble with the police, said Brandon's obituary. Brandon was a former student of Timility Middle School and a senior at Madison Park Technical Vocational High School in Roxbury, Massachusetts, where he was slated to graduate in May of 2014. During his time in high school, Brandon took part in carpentry. Brandon was an asthmatic who worked at Stop and Shop and was a bit of an activist his last year of high school, taking part in a protest. When the principal of his high school was removed due to a fraud scandal, Brandon took part in a school-wide walkout protest in support of the principal, telling reporters of the principal, quote, "He's a great person. He kept me out of trouble." From the reports I found, Brandon was not tied to gangs or that lifestyle. But only 40 minutes prior to his bullet-riddled body being found, Brandon wrote on his Facebook wall, quote, "Ha! I'm glad these niggas don't know who I fuck with in these streets, so nigga, it's better when we come for you, bitch." According to one comment section of an article I found, a woman claiming to be Brandon's girlfriend reiterated that Brandon was, quote, "not a bad person or into gangs." Though, according to other sources, Brandon's murder was a result of friction between him and another group of young men. It does not appear a random act at all. It was very directed. It happened for a reason. A maroon Chevrolet Camaro and 3 men on foot shot at Brandon several times, striking and killing him on January 9th, 2014. Brandon's wake was held at the Carroll Thomas Funeral Home from 5 to 9 p.m., and his funeral was held at 10 a.m. at the Greater Love Tabernacle Church in Dorchester, Mass. Please call 1-617-343-5688 with any information. If you have any questions, complaints, or concerns about the podcast you encountered here today, please message me at minepodcast@gmail.com. That's mine with 2 M's, 2 I's, 1 N, 1 E @gmail.com. And thank you so much for listening. Later, y'all.